African American we've interviewed said they had to moderate their behavior, so they weren't intimidating.
I had a very candid conversation with one of the individuals who passed me this information. He broke it down. You're big, you're black, with a deep voice. You're intimidating. And if you want to move on, you have to do something about it.
This week on 60 Minutes, we reported on racial bias in the military. From the rank and file to officers, African Americans in the Air Force say they are treated differently than their white counterparts. Major Daniel Walker is an F-22 pilot. On an Air Force program called Real Talk, hosted by Lieutenant General Brad Webb, he read comments made by other black pilots.
I have a couple of quotes I want to read off. My fighter experience was the most demoralizing experience in my life, and I've been homeless. The second is, to be yourself and thrive in a fighter squadron as a black man is an oxymoron. Either conform or fail. These are my friends. These are my brothers. And my sisters, actually.
Walker sat down with us to share his story.
This story is not uncommon. I could very easily attribute this interaction to that action on my part. But when you compare stories from people you've never met, and they're almost identical, down to the individual and down to the comment, you start to realize these are not singular events in one person's life.
Walker grew up in Dallas. His family told stories of his great-uncle, Norman Scales, a Tuskegee airman who earned a Distinguished Flying Cross for combat missions during World War II.
At 6 years old, to have your dad's uncle be a Tuskegee airman and see the movies and hear about Uncle Scales, he's got a street named after him in Austin, your family can't help but talk about him. And when I was born and they saw things in me, I felt at a very early age those hopes start to transition to my shoulders. He flew fighters and he changed the trajectory of my family's history. So that's what I'm going to do.
Determined to follow in those footsteps, Walker went to the Air Force Academy and from there to pilot training. Had you been told what to expect at flight school?
Unfortunately, yes. We've had alumni come back, black pilots who'd gone through pilot training. The story was, you're going to go. They're going to treat you poorly. When you wash out, they're probably not going to keep you in the Air Force. So if you go, don't go trying to fly fighters. But in the grand scheme of things, probably don't go.
How did that play in your decision about whether to go?
Well, in my mind, I have to prove it can be done and then prove it can be repeatable.
Walker excelled at flight school and earned a coveted assignment to fly the Air Force's top-of-the-line F-22 stealth fighter. So you go to F-22 school?
Yes, sir.
What was that like?
It was a blast. It was the most fun I'd ever had in my entire life. Seeing things and doing things with so much power underneath you and behind you and around you, it's surreal.
Did you feel your race going through the F-22 training?
Not initially. I got feedback at the end of this course, however, that